Was Elizabeth Chudleigh a scandalous social climber or a victim of a twisted legal system? Did a lavish trial reveal a nation's hypocrisy or simply a woman's desperate attempt to cling to a fabricated happiness? Let's dive into the glittering, suffocating world of 1761 and uncover the truth behind the Duchess's bigamous brush with the law. The whispers started, of course, with a motion. A failed motion in Parliament, a petty squabble over a duchess's marriage that quickly spiraled into a national obsession. William Jackson, a disgruntled pamphleteer, seized the moment, unleashing a furious condemnation of Her Grace the Duchess of Kingston, a title that already felt like a carefully constructed lie. His pamphlet, A Plain State of the Case, wasn't a legal argument. It was a desperate plea, a frantic call for divine intervention to halt a prosecution illegally commenced, unimportant of example, alarming to the people, expensive to the state, and pregnant of ill consequences. He claimed the very writ of certiorari, the document that launched the whole affair, had already declared her innocence, all because Duchess of Kingston was listed, not Duchess of Kingston's husband. A flimsy defense, undeniably, but a defense nonetheless, born of a woman cornered and terrified. The scene that unfolded on April 15th was a spectacle of excess and anxiety. Westminster Hall, usually a stage for weighty political debates, transformed into a gilded cage, a theatrical arena for a trial that felt utterly absurd. The Horse Guards patrolled a phalanx of order amidst a throng of thousands of actors, authors, politicians, foreign ambassadors, all jostling for a glimpse of the drama unfolding. And at the center of it all, Elizabeth Chudleigh, determined to remain unseen, retreated into a hired chair, a mobile fortress piloted by discreet chairmen. The Duke of Newcastle, a man of immense influence, orchestrated her escape, guiding her through the crowds, delivering her into the sanctuary of his house, a carefully constructed bubble of privilege. Imagine it, a year earlier, Newcastle had been her steadfast guardian, standing bail against the very charges now threatening to consume her. Now that same court, alongside all the others, had been swept away, replaced by Ancaster's colossal theater of justice, a monument to centuries of political power. Westminster Hall, a building that had witnessed the deposition of kings and the execution of traitors, was now hosting a trial for a bigamous marriage. Charles I, sentenced to death within those very walls, seemed a distant, almost spectral reminder of the gravity of the situation. But compared to the weighty events of the past, Elizabeth's predicament felt frivolous. Yet, looking at the hall, at the towering boxes and galleries, at the honey-colored angels gazing down from the rafters, adorned with lamps and dark red bays, one couldn't dismiss the sheer extravagance of the proceedings. A foreign visitor, utterly bewildered, likened it to the pomp with which divine service is performed in Catholic countries. The doors opened at 5 a.m., unleashing a torrent of ticketed spectators, a chaotic crush of humanity desperate for a front row seat. 6 hours of waiting, of jostling and sweating, culminated in the formal procession of the Lords, a slow, deliberate parade of power and prestige. The Earl of Bathurst, now Lord High Steward, led the way, followed by his 20 gentlemen attendants, a caravan of 5 opulent coaches. The air crackled with anticipation, fueled by rumors and speculation, by the promise of scandal and spectacle. But Elizabeth, despite her carefully cultivated air of bravery and her undeniable love of attention, remained a ghost in the crowd. She climbed into her chair, closed the doors, and allowed her chairmen to navigate her through the throng, a deliberate act of self-preservation. She wanted to be seen, yes, but not seen. She wanted to control the narrative, to dictate the terms of her humiliation. The trial itself was a masterclass in legal obfuscation and political maneuvering. The clerk of the Crown's pronouncements, oyez, 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 Elizabeth Duchess Dowager of Kingston, come forth and save you and your bail. The prosecution, led by the formidable Edward Thurlow, argued that the ecclesiastical court's jactitation ruling, a sentence declaring her single, had effectively erased the marriage, rendering any subsequent proceedings invalid. It was a legal argument wrapped in a moral condemnation, a justification for public shaming and disgrace. But the defense, spearheaded by the brilliant Horace Walpole's legal mind, Alexander Wedderburn, chose a different path. They argued that the jactitation ruling created an estoppel, a legal barrier that prevented a criminal prosecution. It was a complex argument, steeped in legal theory, designed to muddy the waters and shift the focus from the scandalous details of her marriage to the intricacies of the English legal system. They claimed that the church court's ruling was so definitive, so absolute, that it acted as a shield, protecting her from further legal action. And then there was Lord Mansfield, the legal giant of the age, a man whose reputation for brilliance and integrity was matched only by his formidable intellect. He transformed the trial into a debate about the very foundations of the English Constitution, arguing that the House of Lords, acting as a common law court, lacked the authority to try her for bigamy when the ecclesiastical court had already declared her single. It was a bold, almost defiant move, a calculated risk that threatened to unravel the prosecution's carefully constructed case. The atmosphere in the hall was thick with tension, fueled by the sheer spectacle of the proceedings. Spectators eager for a good show were treated to a protracted legal battle, a clash of legal titans, a carefully staged drama of morality and scandal. Anna Porter, a prominent observer, noted the dry gravity of Wedderburn and the surprise he seemed to feel when others laughed at his wit. The sheer boredom of the Lords, the endless arguments, the tedious details, it all contributed to a sense of mounting frustration. The trial dragged on for 3 days, a relentless barrage of legal arguments and pointed questions. The foreign visitor, still bewildered by the extravagance of the hall, couldn't help but compare it to the opulent rituals of the Catholic Church. The spectacle was undeniably captivating, but the substance, the truth behind Elizabeth's marriage, remained elusive. Did Elizabeth Chudleigh orchestrate her own downfall, a victim of her own ambition and a system that preyed on female vulnerability? Or was she simply a pawn in a larger game, a scapegoat for the political machinations of powerful men? The truth, as always, is likely far more complicated. The trial wasn't just about a bigamous marriage. It was about power, prestige, and the relentless pursuit of social status in a world where appearances mattered more than reality. Elizabeth's desperate attempt to cling to a fabricated happiness ultimately exposed the hypocrisy and corruption at the heart of the English aristocracy. As the trial concluded, with the Lords ultimately deciding they did have the authority to hear the case, Elizabeth remained trapped in a gilded cage, her fate uncertain. The spectacle had ended, but the consequences, social ruin, legal repercussions, and the enduring stain of scandal were just beginning. And as she retreated back to Kingston House, she knew that the whispers would continue, the judgments would persist, and the truth about her marriage would forever be shrouded in a veil of speculation and rumor. Was Elizabeth a victim or a villain? The answer, like the Duchess herself, remains shrouded in a captivating and unsettling mystery.